We are lucky that the At the Races Bloodstock show takes us to some pretty amazing places, but none are more prestigious or historical than Dalham Hall Stud here in Newmarket, as this is the home of Sheikh Mohammed's Godolphin breeding operation. And what better time to visit Godolphin, because the boys in blue are having a wonderful time on the track this year. Part of that is down to Massar winning the Epsom Derby, and his sire New Approach is based here at Dalham Hall. And the king here at Dalham Hall has to be Dubawi, because he recently became a record breaker. He's the first sire to be based in the UK to sire 100 group winners, which is pretty impressive.
I had always high hopes for him because people forget what a good racehorse he was and what a good two-year-old he was, and an early one at that. And, you know, finished out his two-year-old season unbeaten. Now, he did have a blip in the Guineas at 3, but then won the Irish Guineas with great ease and then went on to more Group 1 success. His two-year-olds got off to a pretty slow start because, like the Bowie, they're a bit chubby. They take a little while to get race fit, and they, rather like he, tend to eat and sleep a lot and put on a lot of condition.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Nothing at all. It's a great fault, and it's a wonderful one to have if there is such a thing. But you know, it took them a while to find their feet, and the first run wasn't always their best, but they picked it up quickly from there on. When it started out, he had good commercial mares, there's little doubt about that. And but you know, good stallion moves his mares up right from the get-go, and that was the case with the Bowie. So it probably wasn't until late in the season of his first year that we really began to see the stakes horses appear. We thought we might have something special here. There's no question that he's the best stallion we've ever produced, and I really hope we'll have another like him one day in the not too distant future. But they're like hen's teeth; they don't come along very often either.
Massar winning the 2018 Epsom Derby provided Sheikh Mohammed's Godolphin Blue Silks with a first success in the race. And speaking to those at Dalham Hall, there is no doubting quite how much the victory meant to everyone here.
The satisfaction that provides us all with just couldn't be put in words, to be perfectly frank. I mean, we went back, if you go back through his pedigree, going right back to Awasif and Snow Bride, his dam Koala, you know, who won the group races in Dubai as well at the Carnival. There's a huge link there going back, spanning the years, right from the beginning almost of Sheikh Mohammed's involvement in the business over here. So, given the fact that we've been trying to win that one race, the Holy Grail as we called it and referred to it as, for so many years, and when we did it, eventually it was with a homebred, it was just the way we wanted it to happen, and we couldn't have written it.
You know, what really hit home for all of us was that this was, you know, not just a homebred, but one of our in-house trainers, Charlie Appleby, relatively new into the job, I think, in global terms, doing really well, and delivering from here, from Newmarket, you know, winner of the biggest, best race in the world. So every aspect of it is a great story. We're thrilled about it, and it was obvious, I think, how pleased His Highness and his family were. And that is, of course, what we're here to try to achieve, is to, you know, hit these real high notes. Lamtara was 23 years ago. A lot of people who work here don't remember that. And so this is, certainly for me, is the most significant and important race win that I think Godolphin has had. I'd say this century. If you ask Simon Crisford, he might say that back in the 90s there were wins of great significance because it was a new racing team, a new experiment, and they were hitting so many high notes then. But I think for the 21st century, Massar has got to be the best result we've had.
In a world where breeders have more stallion choices than ever before, it is a common mistake that some proven performers can get lost in the crowded market. If anyone needed their memory jogging of what a star stallion New Approach is, then Massar's Derby win certainly reminded us that he is producing some classy acts in his second career.
He has adapted incredibly well. I mean, he's a very nice horse to deal with. He obviously had the most sensational start to his stallion career, and then slightly went off people's radar, if I'm being honest. But he was never going to go far with what he did in his first crop, having 2 classic winners and 3 Royal Ascot 2-year-old winners in his first year. He was never going to go far, and sure enough, the horses like Hagerman and Cascadian and Massar are all 3-year-olds bred on the back of his first 2 classic winners in that first crop.
And I mean, how much will that Derby win have then sort of reminded breeders of what a good stallion he is and what a lovely horse he is? Or does that sort of have an effect on his popularity for next year, or does it not quite work like that?
No, it does. I think one of our problems in managing stallions is to maintain the confidence of the breeders. There's an awful lot of information flying around out there. There's an awful lot of marketing of other horses, maybe more aggressively than some. And I think maintaining people's belief in horses is one of the challenges we have today with modern media and communications. But the wise breeders certainly never lost faith in a horse like New Approach. But it would be fair to say that he wasn't as popular 3 years ago as he will be in 2019.
One of the stallions I was keen to see here at Dalham had to be the 2015 Epsom Derby winner and Horse of the Year Golden Horn, who was a real favourite of mine on the track. And he didn't disappoint when meeting him in person.
Golden Horn, you're very wise. He's a huge favourite of mine as well. And we're indebted to 2 men there, really. First of all, Sheikh Mohammed for being prepared to back our judgment of him becoming a stallion of the future, and secondly, Anthony Oppenheimer for wanting to send his pride and joy to stand here at Dalham and believing that we could do a good job for him. So that meant an awful lot to all of us, whether it's Ken and the Stallion Men, whether it's Barney and the marketing team, or whether it's Dawn and the sales team. We were all entrusted with one of the best horses of certainly the last 10 years, a true great, and he's really exciting.
And I mean, he seems particularly relaxed. I know it's a hot day and they're all kind of in a chilled out holiday mode, you might say, at the moment. But we saw him out in the field and he's just such a relaxed character, and I really do think that he's an exciting stallion to look forward to.
Well, we were talking about this horse who probably in his racing days, New Approach, wasn't so settled in his racing days. There were issues that made him not so settled. Golden Horn in his racing days was remarkably settled at all times, and he never put a foot wrong. He never gave anybody any reason for concern at all. And I remember Mr. Oppenheimer saying one of the things that really mattered to him was that he was a very intelligent horse, and he wanted things going on around him. He was interested, and he wanted to be kept busy mentally. And he's a lovely horse to deal with. He's as kind as they come, and fortunately, he's very good at the second job as well.
One of the things I suppose our viewers at home are maybe sort of bear in mind when it comes to Godolphin and the boys in blue is the rivalry between you guys and Coolmore. Yeah. From a Bloodstock point of view, it looks like that's slightly quietened down in recent times. You're now buying each other's stock a little bit more and a bit more involved in each other's bloodlines. Just tell me from in-house, where are you at with that rivalry, that Coolmore rivalry?
Well, I think there's 2 sides to it. We are rivals with Coolmore as sports teams. You know, Aidan O'Brien as a trainer is absolutely the top of his game, and in many respects has led the way in the last few years. So, I mean, that rivalry will continue. We have massive respect for him. He has really broken every record in the book. We've got here in the UK, which is what I'm interested in, we've got 2 absolutely first-class trainers. You know, Said bin Sarur, let's not forget, has won over 180 Group 1s himself. We have Charlie Appleby really, hitting his stride. So, from that point of view, there is a rivalry where I think we're very much closing the gap, and everybody here at Godolphin would be delighted to see that. And I feel also that there's a genuine sort of sense of goodwill around the racing world to see that we're competing again. We look here at Fantastic Light's box. Fantastic Light and Galileo were fighting it out 18 years ago, and we want to get back to that kind of high-level
and that was kind
competition.
of felt in the Derby, because obviously, you know, Saxon Warrior went in there, and you guys came out on top. And I think that was one of the angles of the Derby that really the public could really get behind, that old rivalry kind of burning bright again. Yeah,
exactly. So on the racetrack, the rivalry is hotting up, and long may it continue. And I think away from racing, in terms of the breeding, yes, there's been a change in policy, and we are now doing business with Coolmore, and they're doing business with us. So it's an opportunity for two, fantastic and powerful stallion-based operations to start working together and producing for their own racing empires, even better offspring than we've had up to now. So that is a big change.
Looking ahead to the future, what's sort of in the pipeline for Godolphin going forwards in the next couple of years? Have all the changes been made from your point of view, or are the things still to switch up?
This is a fast-moving company, and we don't rest on our laurels. What we want to be doing is consolidating the sort of success we've had in 2018 and actually in 2017, and continuing and improving on that. And absolutely, we've won the Derby this year, we want to win the Derby next year. But it's a bit more sophisticated than just that. We are a global operation. We've had success this year. One of actually the real high points of this year was that first Group 1 winner in Japan. Fine Needle, we want to see continued improvement there. Globally, our stallions are doing extremely well in America, and obviously exceptionally well here. So, the business continues to prosper.
It's clear that there is plenty to look forward to, and it speaks volumes that even those that have worked for Godolphin for decades are still as excited as ever about what the future might hold.
This is my 28th year, so it's fair to say it's long enough.
A little bit of a worry. You've been working here the whole of my life.
That makes me feel very, very old indeed.
Wow.
It's quite a while, yes, and we've seen a lot of things come and go, but we've had a lot of good times too, and there's no question that we've never been on such a high as we're on at the moment after the win of Sire in this year's Derby at Epsom.
Nobody has got as much personal passion for this game as Sheikh Mohammed. He is absolutely part of the fabric of racing and of racing's history.